Hey everybody, welcome back to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to having the mother and daughter duo. This is going to be a fun interview. I'm looking forward to this. Appreciate you both being on my show, Alison Bruhn and Delia. All right, there we go. You guys are the co-founders of the Style That Binds Us. So let's dive in, because e-commerce has never been so important, has never been so relevant. And here we are a year and a half or so out of, post March of 2020, when all these companies all over the world were realizing, wait, e-commerce is at a whole new level than it ever has been, that it needs to be. And now everybody is comfortable buying online more so than ever. And the two of you have started this fashion-forward lifestyle branding community. For those who want to live stylish and fearless lives, you offer style and business consulting, host events, have a podcast and YouTube channel. And I don't think you have a brick and mortar store. I think you're doing this all via, your website. Right, okay. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about just kind of your headquarters being your website. And how that started, and why you didn't think about a brick and mortar.
Mom, do you want me to take it away?
Sure, you go ahead.
Okay, so basically a little background. Grew up in Alabama and moved to New York and interned at Versace in wholesale, and then started my career in fashion on the Barney's buying team. So I worked in beauty, ready-to-wear, and jewelry. And then Mom became a wardrobe stylist. So now, mother-daughter team, we're in the same industry, but different parts of it. So Mom is speaking to women all day, every day, working with them in their closets. And I'm more so working with brands, of course, have the Barney's customer in mind. So we had this really unique experience. We were sharing, I would say, oh, Mom, we met this incredible brand today. You should know about it for your clients, and introduce them to emerging brands more so than just like the brands that everyone knows. And then, of course, I got to see firsthand, working, Barney's had like 17 stores plus outlets, firsthand what brick and mortar pros and cons look like. So right now, we're not an e-commerce business. We don't own any of the merchandise. It's affiliate networking. Affiliate marketing, affiliate links. So everything we curate, basically, and then it's a shoppable blog post. So that's whether it's the curated shoppable section of like the new work wardrobe, or if it is my whole thing. One of the reasons I started this business was emerging brands. I felt like the stories, they weren't being told by the retailers. So since we launched a podcast, YouTube channel, et cetera, host events, or Mom host trunk shows, we could do a whole podcast interview, have all this content, both audio, visual, in person, whatever. And then at the end, it is, oh, here's where you can buy it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Well, it's, e-commerce, for whether you're selling direct retail or you're a professional service firm, or you're, a company like yours that is saying, hey, come to us for advice and then click here to buy as an affiliate link. It's still a way. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant, because you don't have to get a warehouse. You don't have to house anything, right? You're just giving your opinions on things, and it's great. I love it. Well, that's a great backstory. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And so, Alison, you guys now start coming together, collaborating on things. When was the day where you decided, hey, this is, we're collaborating. I'm doing this. You're doing this. Let's actually, let's start a business together, and then here are the pros of that, and here are the cons of it. I used to be in business with my brother, so being in business with your family member has way more pros than cons.
Right.
But you have to kind of have those discussions. So walk us through that.
Well, the interesting thing, first of all, is the thing that we're a little bit different than like a regular store is that, since I know there's a lot of times there's a disconnect between what the buying team thinks the public wants and what the public really wants. So I know what the public wants. I know what women want, because every day they're saying, I can't find blank. I need blank, and I'm looking for these things. So coming together Delia has this relationship with the brands. And even now with let's say it's a bridal client, Delia can say, oh, remember so-and-so brand, they do this really well. Why don't you reach out to them? So it's, it's bringing the consumer and the brands together. And we consider brands many times, they're like artists to us. So it's, for me, I consider when you're helping a woman build her wardrobe, it's like she's building her art collection, very thoughtfully purchased and stuff like that. So in the beginning, I did not want to work with Delia because everywhere we went, especially in New York, why aren't y'all doing something together? Y'all are so cute. You need to do something together, and I was thinking of, and there's no offense to these mother-daughter real estate teams or anything like that. I think it's fabulous. I really do. But I didn't want to, I take what I do seriously for women, and I didn't want it to be, this little mommy and me kind of, that was our shtick. Here we are, we're cute and funny, and, we argue and we love each other and, all of that. I was like, this is a serious business. And if we can come together to help these women, my women, I'm all for it. But until then, I just, I want it to be, we love fashion. We love helping creative people and women in their real lives. And if we happen to be mother and daughter, that's great. And I think especially in this world we've lived through the last year, brands were reaching out to us saying, we've got to survive, but we're scared to come across as tone deaf. So your space is a safe place because you're mother and daughter, and you're not like influencers. You're not scary people. You're inclusive, you're kind, so that we've really, again and again, I feel like I can see the positives of us coming together in this space that we've created. It's not just, it's a real thing, it's a real place. And so I guess the pros of working together are everything, but the only real negative is the technology. And Delia has to be really patient with me about that. Just before this, we were on the phone and I had Google Chrome up, and then I was trying to open the link and it kept going back to Safari. And Delia would say, you know how to right click, how to right click. And I'd be like, I'm doing it. Nothing's happening. Don't fuss at me, So that kind of thing is hard. But the great things are, it's so much, we travel together, we, for some reason, we've always been close, and, we can travel together for a month and not and survive it. So people all the time either say, oh, I wish I could work with my mother or my daughter, or they say I could never work with my mother or my daughter. So,
I love it. You said something earlier. I love that story. But I want to talk about, as you're talking about how you wanted to build a company, how you wanted it to be perceived, et cetera. I think kind of the through line that I'm hearing you talk about is, of course, it's a serious business, but that what women want, right? That's, to me, a lot of businesses get started not knowing what the clients actually want. And so companies are trying to build market share when they don't even have the mind share or know what's in the minds of their prospects, consumers, and clients. And so let's kind of talk about that for a minute, because because that to me is so simple, it's complicated. So but simple. How did you determine, and how do you determine on a day-to-day basis what women / your clients want?
Well, these days it's really difficult, like what you were talking about. A lot of times when you look online, when you shop for women and stuff, or when you're shopping with women and they're like, who are these clothes made for? Because they're definitely not for me. And it could be somebody my age, it can be somebody Delia's age, it's an interesting disconnect there right now. So Delia got tired of hearing me say, I cannot find blank anywhere, and finally I made her sit down and just start scrolling on a particular site. And I said, when you come to something you love, show me. I'm really interested, and then she just got more and more frustrated because there were so few things. So sometimes she has to really live it to understand what I'm saying about how difficult it is right now to find these things that, and then now there's a lot of supply chain problems because of COVID. But I think that I just listen. I'm the one trying to build a core wardrobe and I can't find a basic tee that's under $125, and half of those fall apart and half of them are it's all these different parameters. And then Delia can think through and say, well, first of all, we need to tell this brand that this is something that they maybe could make a different way, or give them feedback why that something's not selling. And then also, I have a brand in mind, or let's start looking around. Who is making dresses for mothers of the bride that don't look like, grandmas and matrons, because we're all living longer and we're feeling younger and more, engaged in the world and everything. So there's a big gap there right now. So we're helping the brands and we're helping the women. Yeah.
But what I'm hearing you say also is you listen, you pay attention, right? That to me, what I'm hearing you say is, you are constantly in a state of listening and awareness, so you can really guide people who don't have the time to do the research, to do to do everything that you're doing. Hence, you build a company that makes it easy for women to come because you've done the research. Right. You've done the study, right? And I'm not the type of stylist that you hire and then you get 3 outfits. For $1,000, you get 3 new outfits, because then they're still like, well, I still have nothing to wear but those 3 outfits. So when women come to me, it's more like, what are the problems and how are we going to solve them? Yeah. What's the new career? Now you're retired, whatever the thing is. And so I have to listen, because I'm literally building a puzzle, solving an issue. And then I go out and try and solve it myself. And then when I can't find it, that's when Delia and I put our heads together and think about, how we can solve the problem. Yeah. So Delia, so when you look at, thank you for that. When you look at problem solving, right? So like you said earlier, you've been in the big brick and mortars, the Barneys, the Versaces, et cetera. There's a way, big corporations solve problems. And then there's a way private solopreneurs solve problems, right? Mm-hmm. Which typically are much faster. There's a lot of corporate, issues where it's hard to make decisions. How have you been able to kind of, put that into your business, the decision making, the ways to kind of, be a big company, but not let the things that don't work in big corporations and tone them down for your business?
Oh my goodness. Well, the great thing about having this career before is I got to take all the pros and leave all the cons, kind of understand all those learnings. And I would talk to mom, and I am like super creative, out of the box thinker, super green, very hungry, very excited. So I would come up with millions of ideas, like, oh my gosh, this is how, what's the problem? Okay, well, here's like 50 things that we could do to get the customer in the store, or get them shopping, or get them whatever it is to know about this brand. And I would call mom and be like, Mom, I just presented all these things and, I don't think they're going to listen to me at all. And she's like, Delia, you're an assistant. They don't care.
You've been there for 4 months, straight out of college.
So then it became this thing where I was 100% Barneys, and like when you hear no's so many times and your idea's not ever implemented, and you're like slamming your head against a wall, this doesn't make any sense. No. Then just for my head and creatively, that's when I started DeliaFolk.com. So we each had our own blogs before. So then I could say, okay, fine. I can't do anything about this, so I'm not going to keep trying to force it. Do something on my own. So the thing about decision making, thankfully, I majored in marketing. I majored in business at William & Mary. And so it was time for me to pick a major and choose a career. And I'm like, I literally have no clue. So thankfully I just kind of did business and then marketing. So I'm always like trying to think beyond the obvious of how can we, without huge financial budgets with marketing, for example, the easy way out of, oh, let's just run a bunch of Facebook ads or Subway ads or whatever. How can I get the style that binds us into the subconscious and then the conscious of every female on this earth? So the last thing I'll say about decision making is not knowing the answer makes me crazy. And in business, as you know, you never hardly, I mean, there's no one to tell you. Mom is always like, oh, I wish we had so-and-so and they could help us, blah, blah, blah. No one has ever created a fashion ecosystem before like we have. No one has ever created something. And fashion is in crisis. It's in flux. So we have to figure out, and you just have to decide. You make a decision. Whether you don't know if it's the right thing or not, you can pray, please help us figure out what the answer is here. What is the next step? And then you just have to go. You can't, oh, should I not? You just have to decide quickly and then pivot and iterate and reflect. How's it going? And then go from there.
I love it. I love it. You know, I love what you talk about. You know, I think in life and in business, you can either conform to where you are or you can take control and do something on your own. And there's so many times 4 million people, you know, just left their jobs in April because they wanted something better, whether it's a new career, whether it's a new place of work, whether it's something to start their own. But never has there been an easier time to start something. But you still need the hustle and the drive and the passion like the two of you have. It's infectious. I love it. So I want to move into a little bit of a quick speed round. But first I want to ask you this. Who are your ideal clients? Who are your ideal people who, you know, the stylethatbindsus.com is targeted to, you know, for just reading it, and those people who actually bring you on as a consultant. So who are your ideal clients before we get into the speed round?
It's women. So basically we have resources, we have style tools, we have how to build a core wardrobe, we have tons of stylist tips. And then Mom created 24/7 stylists from this exercise where we sat at dinner and she said, Delia, go look on every single retailer, look at dresses. And so 24/7 stylists, meet your 24/7 stylist. So whenever you talk to someone in finance, they want to know, how are you going to scale your business? How are you going to scale Alison Bruhn, this one stylist, this one woman show? So nothing, I was getting extremely upset looking at, if you go to Bergdorf's, Net-a-Porter, whatever, dresses, it is one of 25 pages, one of 2,000 things. Nothing was making me drool and dream and just fall in love. And I was very upset by this. So Mom said, we said, okay, what's the solution? There's too many options out there, but not enough of the stuff. The right stuff is either sold out or it doesn't exist. And there's way too much inventory of the wrong stuff. So we said, okay, 24/7 stylist, it's 100 item curated, shoppable place. And it is a sneak peek into Alison's styling clients, their shopping cart. What are women actually purchasing right now that makes sense for the modern lifestyle? The blog, of course, you can learn about. We have the podcast on there, so you learn about new brands, female founders, lots of style tips. So throughout our site are many, many different resources for all sorts of different women. And then Mom's styling clients, again, are all women.
At this point, they're all women. But I think that for us, what's very important is truly, you know, honestly, authentically being inclusive. Because what I have, you know, most of my, not all my clients, but a lot of my clients, first of all, fashion isn't their passion. And also they're coming because they have an issue. So it's because they're a petite size and they can't find any clothes. It's because they're a larger size on the spectrum. And also we formed this business after being with Barney's and Versace and everything, and realizing that group of model, super rich women that everyone, the industry feels very exclusionary, basically. Yeah. You know, our clients, our people are, no. You can play too. You come with us. We're going to show you all of these things. Same thing for me with my clients. We feel very protective of these women, and we want them to know that they are just as worthy as any woman or anyone who is presenting themselves as a woman. It doesn't matter their race, their skin, their height, nothing matters. This is a place where actually it does matter. It all matters. Whoever they are, we want them to feel fabulous. Yeah. And that is what motivates us every day, truly.
I love it. All right. You guys ready for a 60-second speed round?
Sure.
All right. 60 seconds. Delia, one thing you learned from your mom through all of this?
Be kind, be patient.
All right. Alison, one thing you've learned from your daughter?
She always asks me, why not? I'm always putting up blocks.
All right, good. One piece of fashion advice that every person needs.
Dress for you.
Okay.
Don't dress for other people. Dress. It is your nonverbal communication to the world of who you are. It is how you express yourself and present yourself to the world. You have so much power in what you put on your body that most often goes untapped.
I love it. Alison?
Spend more time in the morning.
All right.
Just a little more time.
Define yourself in one word.
There is no way you can define Delia in one word. Driven. That's
right,
only scratches the surface.
Alison, how about you?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Kind, I guess.
All right. Hey, it's been a pleasure having you two on the show today. I appreciate how you took your ideas, you kind of had your own careers, you came together, you collaborated, you morphed something that is, helping so many people, and you're having so much fun doing it. And you're out there using all your gifts to get the message out there through your blogs, through your podcast, you've built a tremendous business, and it can be found at thestylethatbindsus.com. And I appreciate you both coming on the show today. And thanks for sharing your story. I know it will inspire so many other people to start building their story, right? The story, because they're part of that 4 million, and they need kind of that advice and wisdom that somebody else took the leap until they took the jump. Thestylethatbindsus.com thing community, Alison, Delia, I appreciate both of your time, and thanks so much.
Oh gosh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.